Okay, folks, hello again, and it's way too bright. I can't see it. Thought I'd have to do this in a fine day, but pull up the curtains a bit. That's a bit better. Okay, so welcome to day 5652 of the lockdown, where we're all going slightly. So we are going to do another lesson here. Now this time we're going to do 10.3. Okay, so this one is going to be called Getting Data from result set. Okay, so I'm going to call it that one. So I go here. This is 10.3, of course. New Java project. 10.3, and this is going to be called Getting Data from a result set. Okay, and we have got 3 files in this. On the Android first. Package. And we have new class or main class. Then we have examples. And finally, we have a new one called new class UNTRY contract. Okay. Now, so I'm not going to do anything else, but actually I might as well do country now. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating objects from a database. Okay. So we're going to be connecting up to the Wordles database. Now to start off, we're going to be connecting up to my database. But as we progress, we're going to be connecting up to the Wordle database. And from the Wordle database, we are going to be creating country objects. Okay, so now if I go here to my XAMPP, where did that go to? Okay, so my XAMPP is down here. So you have to turn on your database server before you run code. So go to xampcontrol.exe and brings up this guy, and I got to start my MySQL. Okay, then I minimize it. Then I'm going to go to MySQL workbench. I'm going to have a look at the Wordle database. Okay, so I'm going to have a look at the Wordle database. Hello, where you gone? Why is this machine so slow today? Okay, so here's my MySQL workbench. Make the connection. All right, so we've been using my database. Okay, now for the first couple of examples in this, we are still going to be using my database. But as we progress, we're going to be using this guy. It's the Wordle database. So we can see here city, country, country language. All right. Now, the main table we're going to be using is country. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we can see here we have a code, we have a name, we have a continent, we have a population, we have life expectancy, which is poor old Afghanistan, 45.6. That really is low, isn't it? And then we have, what are the ones? Let me just see. Area. Now, I am going to create countries from this database. It's going to have the code, it's going to have the name, it's going to have the continent, it's going to have the population, it's going to have the life expectancy, and it's going to have the area. Okay, I just took those as an example. Okay, now I've just seen as well, you could actually create an enum from these guys here. All right, we might do it, we'll see. All right, so, but to start off with, we're not going to be, so I'll just put that aside. If you have a second screen, have my SQL Workbench as well open, if you have a second screen. All right, an easy way to get a second screen is if you have a smart television, you can connect your laptop wirelessly to your smart television. All right, so don't go buying a second screen. Is you can, if you don't have a smart television, you can actually just connect your laptop to your television by using an ordinary HDMI cable. HDMI cable, yeah. Okay, so you can connect a laptop directly to a television. So that could be your second screen. You nearly get to the stage now, you nearly would want a second screen, because you can imagine you're looking at my code and then you're looking at your own code, or in this case, you're coding and you're looking at my SQL Workbench. I have 3 screens here. Okay. Now, so I am going to be, I won't be using country quite yet, but while I'm here, I will go string ID, string name. Now, I might make this an enum. Okay, I might make continent an enum. We'll see. Int population. Now, if you think about population, no country is going to go above 2.3 billion. All right. But if you want to get the population of the whole world, the population of the whole world is going to be more than 2.3 billion. So what you'd want to do, you may give consideration to making that a long, okay? But for now, we won't bother. Double life expectancy. And double area. Okay. So I'm going to make, I'm not going to do anything fancy. Double country. Oops, sorry. And I'm just going to copy and paste what I have here. Okay. And I'm going to go in here. We could use factory patterns. We could do many different things. We could use the builder pattern. In actual fact, a builder pattern would probably be handy to create this. But I'm not going to add to complications. Remember the builder pattern? You just show what the builder pattern is back in chapter 1, wasn't it? Or chapter 2? It was the first design pattern, wasn't it? Let me just see. That's a singleton. So 2.5b. Immutable. Then 2.5c is the builder pattern. Okay, so we have a human static class human builder, and you have a private constructor, but you use a static class inside the class. So human has a static class inside it called human builder. So you then use that to give your object names. So then let's say if we're creating a human, go to here, and I'll go down, human. So we can see here, human me is equal to new human builder dot set age dot set name null dot set weight 300 dot build. Okay. Now, so you could use the builder pattern. The builder pattern would be kind of easier maybe, but I'm not going to do that now. Now, we might do that when we come back to the builder pattern. We might create these, but we're just going to use ordinary constructors. Okay, so and then I have a toString method. So I'm going to copy and paste in as well. Alrighty then. All right, close off all these lets. Okay, so now all of these fields correspond to a field column in our country table in the world database. Okay, so this one is code field in table. This is the name field table. This is the content. They're usually uppercase as well. This is the name field, consonant field in country table. This is the population field in country table. This is the life expectancy EXEEPTINC field country table, and this is the surface area field in. Okay, so we will use the country table to create a country object for every record, row, tuple. They're all the same thing. Okay, now, so if I bring back this guy, we are going to have, for Afghanistan, we are going to have, the country code is going to be AFG. The name is going to be Afghanistan. The continent is going to be Asia. The population is going to be 22.7 million, I think. The life expectancy is pretty low, 45.9. And the last one then is area, which is the surface area. It's a fairly big country, Afghanistan. Jesus, it's huge. Okay. So that is 6,520,000. No, that's that's 652,990 square miles. Okay. All right. Now, so that's the field it's going to have. Now, but before we start doing that, so that's the country class created. Not going to do anything more with the country class for now. Okay. Now, so we're going to go to examples. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a connection method. Public class examples. So first thing we're going to go static connection, and it's we're just going to return a connection. Connect me string database. So we're going to be connecting to my database. We're also going to be connecting to Word. import connection. So I'll put in these three. Okay, and I'll just put in the rest of this guy. Copy and paste it in. So import driver manager. Now, so try. So static connection, connect me string database. So JDBC is the protocols we're going to use. MySQL is the application. The machine is our own machine local host. The port number is 3306, and the database name is going to be whatever database we pass into it. We're only going to use into either my database or the Wordle database. Okay, so I'll show you how to get some results. So we're going to go static void ex1. Now, so we're going to go try. So what are we going to do? So this one is right. So getting records from a result set. Okay. Now, so we create our connection in here. So I'm going to say connection con is equal to connect me my database. And we need to put we're going to go catch, and we're going to catch a exception. And I'm just going to put in here unable to, what did I put the error down here? Unable to make connection in method connect me, and unable to make connection in ex1 exception, and the exception is, okay, method connect me, and the exception is, okay. Now, so we make the connection, okay. Then we make, so this is connect to my database. Okay. Then we make a statement, statement is equal to con.create statement. Import that guy. Import statement Java SQL. So make sure it's Java SQL, not the Java Beans one. I can't remember what that does actually. All right. So now, so first step is making correction. The second step is that this is making a statement from the connection con. Now the connection con is a connection to my database. That means we now can create statements, or we can now have an execute query. So we have a statement. That means we can query the database by using this object. Okay. We can query. So first, that's the first step. This is the second step. Then you have the third step where you get back a result set. So result set RS is equal to stmt.execute query. Execute query. Now this is not execute update. This is because we're getting answers from we're just getting a set of records from a database. Okay. So if we have a look at my database, and I am going to use customers. It's all our customers. Okay. So I want to select all of those. So the SQL query. So first of all, I have to import that. Import results at Java SQL. Now, so we're going to select everything. So we're going to go select all from customers. Now to make sure that everything is okay. Okay. This runs query and assigns results to ResultSet RS. Okay. Now, so we now have so the result set does contain all of these guys. Okay. Now, there's no hard and fast way of how to get results from a database. There's a number of ways to get results from a database. All right. Now, the object RS is just an object that contains all your records. All right. But you can't obtain records by just going, oh, pause, hold on a minute now. Fuck. Oh dear, what happened there? Right, need to pause. Okay, right. Schoolboy error here. I didn't put in this guy. Now let me just see if I got Control C. If I put him into here, does this work? This might work. We'll just see. Paste. Right. So I just copied it in from there into com.android. All right. Now, so he's here. So I want to do a right click and I go build path, add to build path. Okay. You saw when I run it, I tried to run it, but I didn't have the correct libraries there. I didn't have the MySQL connector Java, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now it should work. Now I run it now. Yeah. Everything runs hunky-dory. All right. Now, so we have, if I just print it out here, that doesn't have any, it's just an object. All right. It's just an object. Now, ResultSet doesn't have, that's the two-string method of the ResultSet class, or is an interface. Let me just see. ResultSet is a, it's an object. Okay. Right. So it does contain all of the items. So it's not an array. It's not a list. The reason it's not an array or it's not a list is because this is what it's producing. All right. Couldn't be a hash map either, because a hash map is a record and a value. But here we've got multiple values. Now, this guy here, just tell you about databases. All databases usually have one column that you need to uniquely identify a record. Now, that's called something called a primary key. An example of a primary key is a PPS number. Okay, so you don't absolutely positively have to do this in databases, but the advice is to do it in databases, in that every record in a database is going to have something that you uniquely identify: name, address, phone number. All of those things do not uniquely identify an individual. Phone number, multiple people could be using the same phone. Okay, you could have two people with the same name living in the same address. So cust ID. So this guy is usually a primary, something called a primary key, and all of these are the values for each record. All right. Now, but a result set is producing all of that. So we just went select all from customers inside here. Okay, what's produced is this. So it's not really, you could put it in an array, but it'd be an array of objects. All right. So what we have here is a result set. It's a whatever records you've picked. In this case, we have picked everything from customers. Okay. So what does this do? This selects all the details, all columns, fields, called fields. This selects all the details, all columns or fields from the customers table for each customer record. Okay, so now we are going to, how do we iterate through all the records to start off with, right? Now, the easiest way to iterate through all the records in the result set is the following, is to use rs dot. Now, let me just see if there's anything new here since I did it last. No, there isn't. All right. As you can see, there is a lot of methods there. Okay. Now, as far as I know, there isn't any method that will just print off all of the details. Okay. Now, you could do it with streams, and we may do it with streams. Now, it doesn't ask you to do anything with streams in a database in the exam, but we may do it. Now, I haven't got a lesson done out with that, but we may, streams should be able to use. Now, I haven't actually done it yet, but I don't see why you couldn't use streams with databases. All right. Now, the main command we're going to be using when we want to get a result is this guy, rs.next. Okay. Now, because now I can't make this any bigger. Okay. This is our first record here. Okay. Now, when you have a result set, all right, you can iterate through them. The way you iterate through them is use that guy, rs.next. All right. But so that means it has to start somewhere. And where the result set starts is before the first column. Okay. So where does the result set start? The result set starts before the first column. So I'll put that in there. So take that out. So the result set starts before the first record. Okay. So if we go to here, that means it's before. So it starts before. It starts before the record of Village Toys. I think there's only one Village Toys. It starts before the record. It starts before the first record. Village Toys. Is it Village Toys or Toy? It's Village Toys. Okay. Now, rs.next, that means it's going to go to the next record. The next record is this guy. Okay, so now the position of the result set is at the very first record, village, twice. Okay, now, so we want to get these records. Okay, now I want to get the name of the first record. All right, so rs.next, that means we've gone on to the first record. We've gone on to the first record, which is village toys. Okay, we've gone on to the first record, which is village toys. Now, I want to be able to get one of these columns. Okay, so what we can do is, if I go like this, if I go rs dot, now here's where you need to know what are the data types in these guys. Okay, let me just see. Okay, now I know the data type in this is a string. Okay, get string, rs dot get string. Yeah. Okay, you need to know the data types of each one of these guys. Okay, now I know that the data types of these are already, all of them are strings. Okay, the data type for all of these guys are strings. All right, so we go rs dot get. Now you can see all the different data types. You have Boolean, you have float, you have double, you have string, okay, you have long. What other ones do you have? You can go get object as well, but so you need to know the data type of the columns. If you don't know the data type of the columns, then you can't get this to work. All right, now I know that all the data types of each of these columns is strings. Yes, I know that's a number, but I've put it in as a string. Okay, this is a string as well, because you can see down here IE234. Okay, so all of these records are strings. All right, so we can go, we need to know the data type we're getting. Get string. Now you have two options. So we want to get the first one, we want to get the name. Okay, we want to get the name. Now what is the name called? It's called cust name. So the way we do it is, let me make sure I'm doing this right. CUST name. Okay, so this will get the name of first. This will get the customer name, which has a column name of cust name in the table. The data type is string, so we have to use rs.get string. If it was an int, we would go rs.get int. Okay, but rs.get string, what does it take? rs.get string. rs.get string has an overloaded method that takes a string which is a column we wish to select. So rs, What position is it? It's at the first row. Why is that the first row? Because I've said rs.next. So rs.next, it's going to print off Village Toys, which is what's here. All right. Now, as well as using the name, we can also use the column position. So rs.get string. Okay. You can see int column index. All right. Now, if I put in 1. Okay. So I'm going to put in 2. It's not array numbering. I thought it was. Right. Now, so this, we are still on the first row. Okay. Here we are using the overloaded get string method on the same column as above. But this time we use the overloaded string, the overloaded get string method that takes an int, which is the column index. Now, what's the column index? Okay, so number 1 is the column. Have a look here. That's number 1. Number 1 is the column cust ID. Is the first column. In the table, cust ID. 2 is second column in the table, which is cust name. Okay, so we can use cust name. So we can use the name of the column. Okay. Now, if there was an int, when we come to using the Wordle column, we do have ints in the Wordle column, Wordle database in the in the country table. We do have numbers. We do have doubles. Okay. So when you're connecting to a database, when you're getting data from a database, you need to know what the data type is. Okay. So we have rs.getString. Cust name. What is that going to do? It's going to get from that column. If we have rs.get, I'll go here, or about rs.get string. I'm going to use a column label. Who do I want to get? I want to get the customer contact John Smith. So that's going to be cust contact. So double space, cust contact. Okay. And this will get, who is it? This is John Smith. Okay. And we can get the same customer. So we go, now it's not array numbering, which I don't know why it's not, but it isn't. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So this is the same thing. rs.get string, and it's going to be 8. Should also be the customer John Smith. Okay, so this is also customer John Smith. Okay, just pause that a second. Okay, so now how if we want to print off all of the names? All right. Now let me just see. Now there's loads of methods that are there as well, just to show you, as you've seen. Okay, there's a lot of methods of ResultSet. All right, there's an awful lot of them there. Jesus Christ. Yeah. All right, there's a lot there. All right, now let's say if we want to scroll through all of the results. Okay, let's say I want to print off all of the customer names. All right, now you can set the result set to go back to the start, to go to the finish. Okay, so if I go rs dot before first. Okay, now what does that do? This resets our result set to before the first record. Okay, now this before first, there is after last. Let me see what else. I think this is an after last, isn't it? Yeah, after last. There is something called a previous. Okay, we will be going through all of these ones. All right, now as you can see, there's an awful lot of them there. We only go through around 7 or 8 of them. All right, now rs before first, this resets a result set before the first record. All right, now rs.next, so I should put this in here. rs.next also returns a boolean. True if there is another record, false if not. Okay, so if it returns, so it returns true or false. Okay, so if it returns, if there is a next record, that means if there is a next record, it'll return true. That means this can be put now. It also puts onto the next record. If there is no next record, it's going to return false. That means you can put it in a loop. So you can go while rs dot next. Now it should be possible to put that in the stream as well. All right. Doesn't ask you. Yeah, it should definitely be possible. It should be very easy to put that in the stream. All right. Yeah, that should really work. Definitely that should work. Now, rs.next, you also have things like rs. How do I guess? Is it count or just see? I know there's some way you can count them. Let me just see. It's not count. As you can see, there's a lot of shit there now. Okay, there is a way to count them. I can't remember. All right. So rs.next. So this is going to keep on looping. This will keep on looping while there is another record. Okay, so it will starts off rs.next, and then I can get whichever one of those I want. Then it'll say, is there a record after this one? Yes, there is. Is there a record after this one? Yes, there is. Is there a record after this one? Yes, there is. Is there a record after this one? Yes, there is. Is there a record after this one? Yes, there is. Is there a record after this one? Yes, there is. Is there a record after this one? Yes, there is. Is there a record after this one? Yes, there is. Go on to the next one. Is there a record after this one? Yes, there is. Go on to the next one. Is there a record after this one? No, there isn't. So after it does its business inside there, this returns false. All right. While there is another record, so rs.next returns true if there is another record, false if there is not another record. Okay. So I am going to create a string inside here. String name is equal to rs.getString, and I'm going to use cust name. Now, there's a whole school of thought as should, oh shit, that's the wrong fucking one, get string. Now, you could also use column index 1. Okay. Oh, sorry, that would be column index 2. Okay. So rs.getString cust name. Okay. And I could print off a name. So what's that going to do? So I print that out. So there are all of the customer names. So I'll print them off here, put it on the top. All the customer names. Star beside it. Now, as you can see, it's not instantaneous. It does take a bit of time. All right. So I now think it's better to get your data into your Java and then do your calculations in it. Load it up onto memory. All right. I wouldn't be one for going for big complicated queries in your Java. All right. Get your data in, and then you can do what filter it using a stream. Right. So we have a name. Okay. I want to get the population, or sorry, what do I want to get? I want to get the customer ID. Okay. So if I go rs.get string, and this time I'm going to use a column index 1. So what does this get? This will be the name of every customer, and this is the unique ID. Every. So we can see them there. Okay. Now, I am going to go let me just check int ID is equal to rs.getInt. All right, now, okay. Right, I forgot that. So this is an int. See, okay, this is an int. Sorry, this is an int. But anything that's any data type, if you don't know what it is, you can return it as a string. Okay, so if you don't know the data type, you use rs.getString. Put that in here. If you don't know the data type column, you use rs.getString. Will work for every data type. Okay. So even though this is an int, okay, you can also use rs.getString. So if you don't know, you can use rs.getString. Now, you couldn't use, for instance, use rs.getInt on this guy. Let me just prove that you can't. No. rs.getInt cust zip. Is it all one word? Nope, it's 2 words. Okay, see? Okay. Now, but you can use getString. If you don't know the data type of column, or it will work for every data type. Okay, you can see here, this has numbers and letters for some records, i.e. 567. Oh, I better not choose IE. UK 7865, i.e. UK 7865. UK 7865. Okay, so this will give you a java.lang.number format exception. Okay, so I'll comment this guy. But if in doubt, use rs.getString. But remember, if you use rs.getString, you can't use it as a number. It's in a string. Now, you could use integer. What is it again? Do you know, what's the method again for converting from a string to an integer? Could use that. All right. But if in doubt, you use rs.getString. All right. Now, I can use int IDs equal rs.getInt1, or I can use rs.getInt, the name of the column will be customer ID. Okay, and that, so the ID is ID. Okay, great. Okay, now what I'm going to do, so yes, you can run queries and do all sorts of things, but what is better is that you get your records and you put them into something else in Java. So for instance, put them into a hash map. All right, databases are slow. All right, databases are slow, so don't do too many queries. Get your data into your code as quick as you can. Okay, so rather than dicking around and putting another couple of queries, what you can do is you can create objects that will hold all of your records, or in this case, you can put in a hash map. I want to put in a hash map that contains the ID and the customer name. Now, the ID is unique. Okay, that's something called a primary key. When this database was set up, we had when I set this up, I said this column has been a primary key. Now, a primary key has to be unique. Remember, in a hash map, it's made up of a key and a value, primary key. So databases are made, actually hash maps are created with databases in mind. All right, because what you can have is, you can have, that is the key, and all of the rest of them can be the value, or in just one of them be a value. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to create a hash map. I'll create it inside the try block. Actually, I'll create it inside here. Okay, so I am going to create a hash map, and it's going to be made up of an integer. It has to be an integer because can't take, remember, generics can take primitives. Okay, generics can take primitives, so it has to be an integer. Okay, we're going to call this customer map. Okay, import map Java UTL. is equal to new hash import hash map. Good. Okay, so what is this going to be? This is going to store all of the customer ID. This is going to store all of customer ID, which is column cust ID. It's going to store all of the customer IDs, column cust ID, as the key, as each of these values are primary key for the record. Primary key is something, and primary keys have to be unique. So these can these values can be the key in each of the hash map entries. So as each of these values are the primary key for the record, and our primary keys have to, these can be the key in each of the hash map entries, i.e. cust ID is that guy and is unique and uniquely identifies the record in the database or village toys. So this can be a key in key value pair in the hash map. Okay, now we will use the customer name as a value. Okay, so I'm going to go inside. So I have a variable called name and I have a variable called ID. Okay, so all I have to, so ID is the ID or the customer ID for each customer, and it is unique. Okay, it is unique. The name is not necessarily unique. Let me just see, we have 2 front rows. Okay, so the name is not unique, but the customer ID is unique. So all we have to do is the following. We go customer map dot put these guys. So what do we put in it? We put in it ID. Put in name. All right. Now come outside the while loop. Our hash map containing our customer IDs and customer names is as follows. Simple as this. Customer map. They're there. Okay. So it contains all of the details that are contained within the database. Okay. So what is this one? So this adds the cust ID for each customer record as a key, which will be unique. It has to be because a key in a so a primary key has to be unique. A key in a hash map also has to be unique. So it's fulfilled. You don't have to check them. If your database is something called normalized, then you don't have to check them to see are the primary keys unique. You can put them directly into a hash map. Works perfectly. Okay, so add the customer ID for each customer as the key, which will be unique. Adds the cust name for each customer record as the value in the key value pair. Okay, right, so we know how now to get records from a database, and we can put them into an array list, or, which is what we talked about earlier, we're going to create a series of objects called countries. All right, now we're going to be using this from the Wordle database. So it's the country table from the Wordle database. Now, how many records are in this? So let me just see. So for customer map, we just go RS. So customer map dot size. There's 11 records in it. Okay. So on this is 200 and something, I think I seem to remember. So we are going to be static void ex2. Now, so this is creating country objects from the country table in the Wordle. Okay. So I am going to create a list type country. And I only want to get the countries of Europe. All right. So this is the sort of things you can do. All right. Now, I'm not going to get to it today. I'm first going to do it by SQL. And tomorrow, I won't get to it till tomorrow, I'm going to do it by using streams. Okay. Right. So list country. I'm going to say countries, Europe. Okay. Is equal to new array list. Okay, so import that guy. UTL. And import that guy. Right. Now I'm going to make the connection. So I'm going to go try with resources. So I'm going to say con is equal to connect me world. Simple as that. Okay. And oops. Catch. Now the only exception, I'm fairly sure SQL could just easily put in an exception. There's no problem with doing that. Okay. So I need to import that. So I will say exception able to connect in EX2. Exception is all right now. So I am going to create the result set is equal to, sorry, RS is equal to, oh shit, sorry. Make the connection and the phone goes off again. This fucking phone. Okay, so just a brief. Some old lady talking shite. Okay, so we make the connection. Okay, then we create a statement from the connection. Then we execute a query from the statement and we assign that to a result set. Okay. Result set RS is equal to stmt.execute query. And right, so we're going to go select all from country. Okay, so what we're doing, we're querying this column or querying this table. All right, now, so this is a slightly more complicated query. There's nothing to, so we're selecting all of the rows or all of the columns. Okay, select all from country, where continent. Now I have to make sure that the spelling, and it is case sensitive as well. So oh, it's actually capital. Actually, it isn't case sensitive. Sorry. All right. So select all from country where continent is equal to. Now you use single quotes. It's equal to Europe. Right. Now you could do this in streaming by using the order sorting. Okay, you could use the sort method in yes, you could use the sort method in if you're doing streams, but you can also order by SQL. So this is order by name. Okay, now it's very English. Select all from country. Okay, now this is a where clause. Where continent. Now, anything that's now, so if you're doing it in raw SQL, let me just show you what it'll look like. So I copy and paste this guy and I go into here. Now the only difference, now that won't work. The reason it won't work, so if I go to run it, I get a query, I get let's say it's just an error. Okay, the reason I get an error is because in my SQL, single quotes are characters. Okay, right, so order by name, run that lad. Okay, use Wordle, shit. Now run that. There we are. There's all the countries from Europe. Right? Jesus, there's a lot of us, isn't there? All right. So the only difference between this and your code inside Java is that you can't put double quotes inside double quotes. Right? But it's very simple code as well. It select all from country where continent is equal to Europe, order by name. What does that get you? That gets you all of this. Okay, starts off with Albania. Where are we? Good. Thanks be to God, they didn't call us air or some shit like that. I downloaded this database from somewhere. I don't know where I got it from. All right, I have it years, so it's years out of date. All right. But yes, they have us IRL. Go us. Now, so this result set contains all of these guys. All right. Now, so what I'm going to do is I am going to, so how about this? This will select all countries in Europe, then sort them by name. Okay. Now, this is pure, this is SQL code. So you're running SQL code in your Java, right? Now, so I'm going to go while. Now, this is why I said the builder pattern probably would have been handier here, but we're going to do it as creating an ordinary. We're going to be creating, so rs dot next. Okay, so this one, this will loop through all of the records of result set. Say before the first next position in result set is before first record. So the first time it goes into it, rs.next, the first thing it does, is there an rs.next? Yes, there is, and then it goes on to it, which in our case will be Albania. Then it goes on to Andorra, blah, 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 all the way until it gets to Yugoslavia, does all the things for Yugoslavia. Then it goes rs.next. Is there one next after Yugoslavia? There isn't, actually. Yugoslavia is, okay, that is, this database is really old. I'll think of it. All right, now, so I am going to go country. Now, I'm going to show you a long form and a short form for doing this. Country is equal to, so if we look at country takes an ID, which is cust ID, a name, which is cust name, a continent, which is continent, a population, which is population. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a mixture of column position and column name. All right, so first one is, so it's new country. Then we're going to go rs.get string, and this one I'm going to use column index, which is the first one, which is the country code, isn't it? Yeah, which is code. Now I could just put in code as well. All right, I'm going to do mix and match. Then I go rs.get string. This one we're going to do name. Okay, which is that one there. Okay. Next one. rs.get string 3. Now the third one, 1, 2, 3, continent. Okay, so I want to say the continent. It's going to be Europe. Just going to do the rest of them. Actually, I have them all here. I'll just copy it out. It's easier for me. So that is going to be the code, that is going to be the name, that is going to be the continent, that is the population, that is the life expectancy, and that's the surface area. Okay? And that creates a country. We then add the country, oops, countries dot countries Europe dot add country. Okay. So this will add. This will create a country from the code, name, continent, population, life expectancy, surface area, and surface area. Fields of each record, every country in Europe. Okay. Right, this will create a country with a code, name, content, life expectancy, surface area, each record of the country. So we have our objects created from this one. Now, this this is, yeah, hold on a minute. Okay, excuse me, onto there. I have to go create them. I hear these half the time. Anyway, this will create a country from the code, name, content, population, and surface area fields of each record for every country in Europe. Okay. This country is then added to our list of countries. Okay. So now that's what I would advise you to do. All right. Yes, you can be running all sorts of complicated queries in here. All right. My advice is now to get your records into your Java, and then you can filter them then. All right. For instance, you can go, so countries Europe is equal to add countries. So then if I want to print off all of the countries, okay, all of the countries of Europe, we can go countries Europe. Oh yeah, because I haven't run it yet. And all. Why not? There they all are. There's a lot of them there. Okay. How many is in them? Let's see how many countries in Europe. There are countries Europe dot size countries in Europe. Now let's say we want, now I put in, I want to get all the countries that have a population greater than 10 million. Okay. All right, so we can do this. So we're going to do countries Europe dot stream dot filter. So it takes in a country, and then we go C dot population is greater than 10. 2, 3, 5, 6. Dot for each. And we're going to say it takes in a consumer. So it takes in a country and country plus C dot name. Put them all on one line for each. Country C dot name. Population more than 10 million. Oops. Right. So there's all the countries, the population. There are 46 countries in Europe. There's all the countries with a population greater than 10 million. So my advice, really, you're doing these things in database, is to do a more general query. So if you're going to be using MySQL, do a more general query in MySQL, and then use streams to filter, put them into an array list, right? Do a general query, put them into an array list or a set or whatever, and then do a stream operation on it. It's a lot faster than checking the database for all the records that are greater than 10 million. It's up to yourselves, okay? So we perform a filter operation on the list of countries in Europe to see which countries have a population greater than 10 million. All right. Or if your table isn't too big, you can populate a list of objects. Let's say you've got 50,000 records in a database, and they're customers. All right. You have 50,000 customers in your database. It wouldn't be too big of a stretch for a Java program to have just input the 50,000 users as 50,000 person objects or customer objects. And then you can filter them any way you want. I personally think these guys are easier than MySQL. That's up to yourself. Okay, I could have done it. I could have select all from the country, select all from country. Then I would just filter out those where the continent is Europe, and I could filter out those that have a population greater than 10 million. All right. What do I mean by that? Okay. I am going to do we have the connection. Try catch or stop next. Okay, I'm going to do another one here. I'm going to create another result set. Result set rs country is equal to stnt.execute query, and I'm going to select all country. Right now, and then I create another list here. List, country, and I'll say country world. New array list. Okay, so this is to hold countries of Europe, hold countries of world. Okay. So select all from country. Okay. Now I go while rs country dot next. Okay. Now, and it is going to be again. We go country is equal to, now it's the exact same string that goes in here. I could have even created a method, probably would have been, but that's neither here nor there. All right. So then I go country wordle dot add country. Okay. So this will select all the countries of this. We'll select all of the countries of the world. This will populate our list of countries of the world. With all countries of the world. Right? Now, so that creates country world. And if I go down here then, okay, so I have now, so SYSO, there are, say, country world dot world. World dot size now. So to do with this, I want to get to all the countries in Europe that have got more than 10 million. So I am going to go country world dot stream dot filter. Takes in a country, it's going to only return countries where c dot name dot equals, ignore case because there could be a situation where Europe. Okay, and then I filter it further. Filter, and we take the filter that I have up here. This one. Okay, so we have two filters in a row, which you can do. Nothing wrong doing that. Okay, so the name of the country takes in a country, returns true or false. So if it equals, ignores case, Europe, the population is greater than 10. And then the last for each, which is the same as this guy. The country in Europe So I will try this one using streams and databases to get the same result. Okay, I've done something wrong there, so I need to pause it. So this one here, it's RS country. Okay, so it's RS country, shithead no. So I'll put this in for each one of them. V, on here, V, this one here, Control V, this one in here, Control V, put this one in here, Control V, put this one in here, Control V. Okay, so I'll put that over. I'm not blind to hell. Okay. Actually, I'll push over a few lines. So I have to do that. So now we should be okay. There are 239 countries in the world using streams and databases to get the same result. Hold on a minute now. Why isn't that printing out? Okay, I'll pause that. Okay, sorry, it's C.continent. C.continent. That equals ignore case Europe. Now that should be correct. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So I want to see how many. Yeah, that works as well. Okay. So which is faster? I don't know. All right. I personally think if you use a combination of streams and databases. So what I did there was I just got all of the countries of the world, which is here. Okay. And I put it into a list. And then I use streams to filter out the list. It's an alternative to using MySQL. That works. So it's up to yourselves for everyone they want to use. All right. So that's us finished for today. And I will see you again tomorrow. Okay. Bye now.